Hello and welcome. My name is Heather and I'm the owner of Party Masters. Today is lesson number 6 and we're going to talk about lines. I'm going to teach you lines based on a spider web since there's lots of lines both straight and curvy, which is super helpful. If you feel like you're ready to, feel free to make a beginning spider with just one larger oval and another small circle. And then we're going to do the legs as part of the lesson. So the first thing we want to do, load up a number 2 with some white paint. And then we're going to sort of picture the web. The web is going to kind of go like this. Okay, so we want like a nice kind of semicircle. And you're going to hold your brush on an angle. Now remember this semicircle. So let's say from about here, straight up to his hairline. Remembering this again, we're going to go straight up to his hairline. Oops, I need a little more paint. Don't worry about that if it happens to you. Just refill and go on. And then the same thing here. We want to keep that semicircle in mind and just make straight lines, hopefully of a reasonably similar size, all joining to the same spot. Now we probably want to load up again and we're going to start with some curved lines. Now really this just takes practice, but what we want to do here, I'm going to start up here. And you're going to want your lines to all be a little bit of a curve, lining up in the same area. The curve doesn't show a whole lot on the first one, but it starts to show more as you go on. Now, do you see how you're just continuing to add on to this? These will become a little bit more curved, and that curve will show more. I like to lift up between each curve. You don't have to if you feel like you can just go straight along, but I can't. I need to lift up. Now reload your brush and go back. These ones should be nice and curvy. Until you've reached his other hairline. It's perfectly okay to leave a little bit on the edges of the straight line because that's pretty much how a spider would do it. Then let's take from the bum of the spider straight up into the web. Okay, and that's where the spider is climbing down. So now let's clean off that number 2 brush of the white and load your brush with some black. Now this is where a new type of line is going to come into play, and it's going to be from thick to thin. Thick to thin gives it a really nice look instead of just straight lines all the time. So what we want to do, I'm going to start with these ones here. And you're going to go from thick to thin. Lift up. From thick to thin. Thick to thin. Thick to thin. Make the same on the other side. From thick to thin. Thick to thin. Thick to thin. And thick to thin. Reload your brush again. You're probably going to need to at this point. And then we want to do basically the same thing. Thick to thin, 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 thick to thin. Do you see how it gives those spider legs a really nice look and they're not just straight? If you did them straight, you'd have this, which isn't the end of the world, but it certainly doesn't look as nice as that looks. Now, if you want to continue on, I would use a little bit of red, and I would give him red eyes, just for the fun of it. We can continue this video on just to finish up this spider web, right? So I would use some red eyes. And maybe a little red just around there to give it a little bit of a special look. So there you go. With a few lines, you've learned an entire design. Congratulations, and we will see you again in the next lesson. Have a great day.